Journalism.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange sits in a London prison for the crime of committing journalism.
What is true journalism?
The integrity of journalism.
The facts, the journalism, the truth about what you need to know.
Journalism is hard.
Independent journalism.
What about journalism?
The art of observing the world as it is, and then retelling the observations you've made in a way that is palatable for the masses to understand. Journalism is a powerful tool, not just today, but for all of human history.
Good evening. The princess who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
I'm Diane Sawyer, and it's Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
It is lunchtime in London, 5 a.m. in Los Angeles, and 8 a.m. here in New York, live from the CNN Financial News headquarters.
It is beautiful outside, perfect September day with lots of sunshine. Oh, would you look at Washington, huh? I'm going outside today.
Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
Yeah. This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center.
So you said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
Yeah. The radical left seems to be getting more depraved every day. Now, the latest display, the Young Turks contributor, Hassan Piker, going on this vulgar rant, mocking wounded war vet, Congressman Dan Crenshaw.
What the f is wrong with this dude? Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, his eye hole with their dick?
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Protect Bernie Sanders!
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Protect Elon Musk!
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 This is extremely dangerous.
This is extremely dangerous.
Wait, no. Then I remembered that my full-time job is to do journalism.
Well, today the definition of journalism is the collection and editing of news for presentation through the media. We can go even simpler than that. Consider a group of early humans in a river valley, a sheltered community of farmers and workers alike, unknowing about the world around them. The sheer act of venturing to another valley and observing another group of humans is a simple form of investigative journalism. Now, you could be a good journalist and tell your group of people about the newly discovered group of people in the valley over. You could be a great journalist and tell your group of people about your discovery and also include very important context and analysis. Or you could be neither of the two options, a bad journalist or simply not a journalist at all. You could stay silent and not tell your people about the things that are happening outside of their river valley. Or even worse, you could inform your people about what's happening outside of their river valley, but lie about the context and analysis.
This evening, I came here to speak to you about Vietnam. They are a mixture of political turmoil, of poverty, of religious and factional strife, of ancient servitude, and modern longing for freedom. It is the arena where communist expansionism is most aggressively at work in the world today.
Controlling the masses by making them feel informed, all the while being completely misguided by their newly acquired knowledge.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously. I remember the fact that he has invaded 2 countries before. I know for a fact that he's poisoned his own people. He doesn't believe in the worth of each individual. He doesn't believe in public dissent.
Journalism is key for the prosperity of human beings. But when it falls into the wrong hand, journalism becomes a weapon. Not a weapon for good, like in the civil rights movement with the Black Panther newspaper, or in the Stalinist era of the USSR, where cinema and newspaper were key in the development of ideological hegemony, but rather journalism that is used as a weapon for infighting, not amongst the left or the right, but rather between one another. A singular group of people, the working class, split into 2 nearly identical camps with marginal differences, who are taught to hate one another because of said marginal differences. All the while, the cause for our suffering, the capitalist class, the owner class, sits back and receives marginal criticism. So what happens when you combine neoliberal journalism with a short-form video app that's based around the concept of endless scrolling? I'm a Zoomer, which means I'm politically in tune and chronically online. My crippling addiction for the past 4 years has been TikTok. I wake up and before anything else, TikTok. I get tired and the last thing I do for the day, TikTok. I eat food, TikTok. I sit on the toilet, TikTok. TikTok, 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 TikTok. Something I've noticed over the past 4 years of using this godforsaken app is the phenomenon that is TikTok journalism. The core of the phenomenon is as follows. Someone appears out of the blue and begins reporting on the news with a seemingly left-leaning slant. These people are subsequently respected, praised, trusted by people on the left. People get excited that someone with such a platform is advocating for the same things they believe in. But eventually, all good things must come to an end, and these quote-unquote journalists are exposed to the world as not very good journalists, advocating for the same broken system that we're all trying to abolish, advocating for the same infighting that's keeping us from progressing.
11 years of journalism and you still don't know how to research what a good hairstyle is.
It's true. Marcus DePaula. Marcus DePaula. You might recognize this guy from the very weird TikToks he makes with his girlfriend that involve a lot of PDA, and they make me uncomfortable.
Today, the Supreme Court will hear arguments over gay rights from an evangelical Christian web designer and from the Civil Rights Division of the state of Colorado.
Today is also my birthday, and because it's my birthday, I get to introduce you to my girlfriend, who is amazing.
Hi guys, I'm Brittany.
According to this guy's Twitter bio, he was apparently involved in White House press, but has since gone on to only focus on social media. However, he does have another connection to the White House that I'll touch on in a little bit. The big TikTok that really got people questioning Marcus's true values was the one where he talks about the power crisis in Texas in 2021. This was when the state froze over and hundreds of people died due to infrastructure failure and subsequent power loss.
Texas electricity is all fucked up because Republicans wanted electricity to be run like a business instead of a government service. As we all know, businesses have to make a profit in order to exist. The problem is that businesses generally do what's necessary to make money and don't actually give a shit about customers, so they have to be forced to take care of their customers by rules created by the government. Well, Republicans don't like rules either. They call them government regulations. Enjoy your power blackouts, Texas. You voted for them.
As you can see, Marcus is directly participating in the exact type of infighting that I was talking about earlier. He blames working class Texans for the power outage because Texas is apparently red, and they voted for this to happen. At the end of the day, even the conservative Texans are not at fault for this. This is the fault of good old classic greedy capitalism, negatively affecting the working class and positively affecting the owning class. At the time of this TikTok, Marcus was somewhat respected, or at least trusted, by folks on the progressive left. It wasn't until this TikTok, however, when people on the left started realizing his childish analysis, if you can even call it that.
Enjoy your power blackouts, Texas. You voted for them.
Marcus, I really mess with you too. I never thought I'd have to do this to you, but this is a miss, bro. Some of my mutuals hit this before I did, but I wanted to add my 2 cents. Let's get the inhumanity of this statement out of the way first. Not only would I not wish this on the people who didn't vote for him, I wouldn't even wish this on the people who did. This is a domestic catastrophe that's happening right now. But listen, there's plenty of videos that get into that. I'm here to talk about your last statement. Even you saying you voted for him is a miss. Texas is one of the most gerrymandered states in America. All sources listed within the top 10 and some even within the top 5. Voter suppression in this state is amongst one of the highest in the nation. Take a look at these congressional districts. When zooming in, we can see how meticulous they were when drawing. I have cousins in Texas who are literally in a different congressional district than their neighbor because they tend to vote blue. Because of that, they cut them into a district that tends to vote red so that their vote is suppressed. This is only talking about red and blue. When we look at the racial voter suppression in Texas, I would venture to say that Texas is top 2 and it's not number 2. The vote of Latinos and black people in Texas is so suppressed, you think that they're not there at all. Listen, I get it. You're a left-leaning white male who lives in Boston who probably tends to vote blue. Voter suppression has probably never manifested true in your life. With that and empathy, we gotta keep those both in mind, bro.
However, the situation with Marcus goes a bit deeper. Reportedly in early 2022, Marcus DePaula, as well as several other TikTok and social media influencers, took part in a White House press briefing on Zoom to discuss the Ukraine war. According to the WHC Insider, these influencers were informed on the United States' strategic goals in the region. You mean your goal of further destabilizing Eastern Europe in hopes of NATO expansion?
I think Yats is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, what he needs is Cleach and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week. So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, the EU.
A White House official was quoted saying, "Arming content creators with factual information and answers can be a critical tool." You mean like how you armed the Nazi branch of the Ukrainian army? These influencers were reportedly chosen because, quote, "many of them have created explanatory content about Ukraine." Let's see what kind of content Marcus was making at the time about the conflict in Ukraine.
It's estimated that the capital of Ukraine will fall within 2 days of a Russian invasion.
Under the Desk News.
Monday night, and here's what happened.
Is a person who reports on news under a desk, I guess? I don't really understand the shtick, but I guess it's one way of standing out. Or sitting out. According to their website, Under the Desk News started out as a series expanding on news events in a nutshell and quickly became Gen Z and millennials' go-to source for news. That's debatable. V's in-depth citizen journalism led them to collaborate with notable figures like former President Obama, President Biden, and a dozen-plus members of Congress to lucidly inform and push for civic participation. This should have been a pretty obvious sign that her analysis and overall news coverage isn't really of the highest quality, not to be mean or anything. What I mean is it may lack very important analysis of American foreign policy and our military actions abroad. And also a lot of class analysis that these liberal journalists tend to really avoid. They reported very little on Israel's actions in Gaza over the past few months. And when they finally did make a TikTok on the subject, this was the response.
Friends, I'm going to need all of us to start expecting a lot more from our news content creators, journalists, and reporters. Now, I know I have made my fair share of videos about Under the Desk News, and I think I've made my feelings about their content and their work pretty clear. When they finally made a video about the amount of journalists that have been killed in Gaza, somebody commented this. "Thank you for this. I wish you did more videos about Palestine." To which Under the Desk News responded, "I'm not a foreign correspondent or an expert on the issue. The folks you need to go to for reporting are folks like AJ and citizen journalists like Bison." Did you guys get that? That little trickaroo there? This is something that elites do often. It's a trick that they do when they don't actually want to talk about something. They don't want to take a stance on a controversial issue, or they don't want to admit what their position is because it might be upsetting to some of the people that they work for. And that is to feign ignorance or neutrality on an issue that they absolutely should be talking about in their field and then shifting the burden on others. Do you notice the framing of this comment? It's like a scarcity framing. Like there's not enough room in the inn for everybody to talk about the genocide in Gaza.
Oh, but you're an expert on Epstein and all the other shit you've been talking about lately? I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but you don't have to be an expert to cover the news. You're not the source. You don't have to be an expert to be a voice for change. You don't have to be an expert to advocate for something.
I'm convinced that this person works for the feds. I think that the feds are providing them a script, and they are reading off of the script that is provided by the feds. That's what I think is happening.
It's Sunday, October 15th at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and here's what's been happening in Israel-Palestine for the last 2 days. Here in the United States, there were several peaceful protests at college campuses with folks showing up to support both Jewish students and the Palestinian people.
Jewish students and the Palestinian people. Jewish students that are in America right now, in their dorms, and the Palestinian people being bombed in Gaza. Why are those two even in the same sentence?
University, the campus radio station, was able to capture audio of a man who works for the school but who is not a student and was not involved in the protest. I'm going to play it for you now. His comments are very disturbing.
I'm here to support the Jewish students here.
Yeah.
Okay? I work here. Okay? These people have no business being here now. I've emailed the president, the provost. They should be out here shutting down these mother... Okay? I'm an officer of administration. I'm here on my own. I'm not representing the university. I'm Jewish. Okay? I'm a Zionist. Okay? I hope every one of these people die. Okay?
1,300 Jewish people were killed on October 7th, which is the most amount of Jewish people killed in a single day since the Holocaust.
Dylan Page, aka News Daddy. Ugh.
The Pentagon has just announced a new nuclear bomb, which reportedly is 24 times more powerful than the one dropped on Japan.
This guy is quite the character, and he's really just one of those classic online journalist types that just takes kind of the most brain-broken headlines there is, turns it into some boring TikTok that a 12-year-old's gonna watch, and really all of his ideas really just feed into really basic American and overall Western propaganda points. His biggest offense, however, the time he really popped off, was when he doxed the woman from the viral "That Thing Is Not Real" plane video.
Get on with it.
For over a month, despite it being one of the most viral videos of the year, somehow no one could find out the identity of this woman, leading to a lot, and I mean a lot of people believing that she was the one that wasn't real. But now...
Okay, so far, I get it. Who is she? We don't know. Okay, now... this fuck.
Now, thanks to a journalist called Bria Dale, she has officially been identified as...
So, okay, now, let me tell you, this is not blurred in his TikTok.
No, definitely not.
It has her age, well, race, sex, ethnicity. It has her address, her city. It doesn't have her exact address. He blanked that out, but he had city, state, zip code, county.
It's Tiffany. She is 38
It says
years old.
her full name.
Yep.
And then this is more identifying information.
About her company.
This says who her employer is and like their phone number, their address.
Name of company, address, or like location of company, her role in the company.
This woman didn't do anything. Nope. Why are you trying to ruin her fucking life, you little freak? But wait, it gets even worse.
And the founder of a called...
He says the name, the location.
Yep.
The number is on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
According to public records, Tiffany is a graduate of State University and lives in a $2 million home in the neighborhood.
This man showed her fucking house and said her neighborhood. What is wrong with you, dude?
And he's doing it so like happy-go-lucky and like casually, like just not even really thinking about it at all.
Now the doxing was pretty awful. I think he might have even doxed the wrong person or something. Either way, he doxed someone to his millions of followers. But I also want to take a quick look at some of his other TikToks because they're just hilariously inaccurate and really stupid.
We may actually be getting Cybertruck police cars. The official Twitter account of the Rosenberg Police Department in Texas said, "What do you think, Elon Musk? Will the Cybertruck make a good police vehicle? Should we make the change in 2024? To which Elon actually replied, 100%. And if the Cybertruck's first crash is anything to go by, RIP to those with crimes scheduled for this year. So the question is, would the Cybertruck make a good police vehicle or not?
Yeah, cops need more technology in order to suppress the constitutionally protected act of organization. Let's go, dude. Imagine getting absolutely obliterated by a Cybertruck in a chase.
Google searches for the question, am I gay, has increased by 1,300% in the last 10 years according to new analysis. The findings, which were published last week, collected Google Trends data from January 2004 till present across all 50 US states, and it found that Utah had the highest search volume for the phrase, am I gay, am I lesbian, and am I trans, while Oklahoma had the highest search volume for the phrase, how to come out.
This TikTok definitely isn't the problem, but the comments under it are very telling of his audience. I think a good way of understanding the biases and true intentions of a journalist is to see how they cover China, the biggest boogeyman in 21st century America.
Lockdown in China is one of the most eerie things you will ever see. If you didn't know, hundreds of millions have been placed back into some form of lockdown in China recently. People are being boxed up and led through the airport if their QR code is red in whatever the hell this thing is. They've got robots spraying disinfectant in the airports. They're also using drones to fly through lockdown areas to warn them not to step foot out of their apartments. Oh, and they got this little dog-looking robot thing with a megaphone strapped to its back while it's walking through the streets. Here's a bunch of health workers doing a little creepy dance. Even the riot police in China are dressed in these eerie white hazmat suits. People could be seen sleeping next to urinals as a public restroom was turned into a quarantine site. And that is the sound of millions of people screaming out of their windows from the apartments they've been locked in.
Look, I like Dylan Page's content. It's just in this video, everything is wrong. It's more of a propaganda on how to hate Chinese people because he keeps making a comment on their eerie white outfits. First thing, it's a hazmat suit. When you go through a drive-through and do your COVID test, they're wearing white hazmat suits or white outfits, whatever. Then he mentions that they're doing a weird dance. They're fucking doing Chinese exercising, bro. It's like when you go to the park and you see people do Tai Chi. Everything shown in that video is actually advanced technology. They can follow a health procedure so no one can fucking spread the disease. He's making it look like it's bad or something. If you want to get full statistical and shit with it, COVID cases in America almost hit 100 million. China only hit 1 million. And China has a bigger population than the US. In the last bit of his video, he was claiming that everyone was screaming, asking for help during the quarantine. I saw a different perspective from someone else and they weren't screaming for help. They were singing the national anthem. You guys should need to stop twisting the story.
But I must just be missing something. News Daddy is an amazing source for news. I mean, there's all these highly respected people that use News Daddy as their news source. Like KSI, the Prime guy.
He hit me with 3 waves at 1:45 in the morning. Sus. Then my best mate says, lol, didn't even know you can DM on here, but yeah, I use you as my news source. News Daddy 1, BBC 0. And I didn't want to keep searching to find your account. He says to keep up the good work and that I'm killing it, rounding it out with an okay emoji and a corresponding colorway. So there.
At the end of the day, in today's information age, it can be really difficult to differentiate the truth from lies. Media literacy is an incredibly important skill. You need to be able to determine who is truly fighting for the betterment of all society around the globe, and also where they seem to be getting their funding and support from. Generally, if someone is involved with the White House, even if they call themselves progressive, and tend to talk about progressive ideas and fight for progressive ideas, they're likely going to be completely void of any class discussion or any analysis about American military action around the globe. Folks that frequently express their beliefs of anti-capitalism tend to be the people I trust the most online. However, you can't trust all anti-capitalists. For Marxist-Leninist analysis about American military intervention around the globe, I tend to lead towards Midwestern Marx as a great source on TikTok and on YouTube. For better understanding of the logistics of socialism and implementing it here in America when it comes to workers owning the means of production, Madeline Pendleton on TikTok is a great source. They in fact own a business that profit shares. They actually all make the same amount of money, every single employee at the company. And in fact, they're an incredibly successful business, all the while being run with a socialist system. And for a healthy combination of domestic politics as well as American foreign policy, Hasanabi is my go-to. Thank you for watching this video. Please go to your local library, invest in a library card, and check out some media literacy. This has been North Star Radio. Peace and love, and free Palestine.